All right, folks, not gonna lie, it's preseason, not a ton to talk about, but admittedly, some stuff to talk about, so let's dive into the film room. Grady Dick's comfortability attacking the paint was really impressive tonight, settling into these mid-range jump shots. He would settle into these push shots, and I just love the confidence. You see him chuck here from 40 feet out, and even though that didn't go down, we know that he's able to hit those shots. We've seen it go down over a pretty large sample size. He seems really comfortable attacking the weak foot of the defender, and then rising up over the top using his 6'9" frame. I thought he was really impressive defensively too. Here he is as the low man. He sends help to Jakob, digs down, isn't able to get the steal initially, but recovers to Sar and gets the steal, and the Raptors are out and running. Same activity here. Just look how aware he is of where he needs to be on ball. Tries to get the steal, recovers back to Jordan Poole, fights over the screen, stays with him despite the hezzy. That's just great defense by Grady Dick. And here he is again. Nice skip pass by Davion Mitchell. He attacks the closeout. Nice floater with the right hand. And folks, this is where Jamal Shead came into the game and caused havoc. First possession he's in, he pressures the ball, gets the steal. Next, watch how quickly he chases over these screens, fights through, gets the steal on this one as well, and saves the ball out of bounds. He gets the ball, pushes it in transition, and finishes. Just an unreal sequence. That is awesome basketball. Here he is getting the offensive foul on Alex Sar, who had the moving screen right after. And then just more poise from him offensively. Obviously, teams are going to start going under on these screens, and his jump shot will be a big part of his progression as a player, but being able to attack the weak foot of a defender and finish in traffic is really impressive as well. And I love the pace he plays with. Great recognition, finding Kelly Olynyk for that three. Once again here, forces an offensive foul. Just a really pesque type of player and defender, which is why he will be a fan favorite for this team. Watch him close out on Bilal, stay with him, force him to pick up his dribble, and it's a shot clock violation for the Wizards. I liked some of the vision from Shead too. Here he is, pick and roll, pocket pass to Ochai. And then next possession, he sees the pick and roll is coming. He rejects the screen all the way for the reverse finish. That's just tough stuff offensively. Really impressed with what he brought on the defensive end, but was pleasantly surprised with what he brought on the offensive end tonight too. Here are the two standouts tonight working together. Grady forces the tough pass. Shead steals it. In transition, he finds Grady, who finishes through contact. Great work. And wrapping it all up, again, a really good possession from the Raptors defensively. Good job by Kelly Olynyk to get the block. Raptors are out and running. And a beautiful pass from Grady up top to Jonathan Mobo. Folks, it's a preseason game. Not that many takeaways. Not many takes to have for you, other than the fact that, one, I hope RJ Barrett is all right. Right shoulder contusion. Obviously, it's tough to say. The Raptors will be as precautionary as they will. I'm sure, even as I'm recording this, Darko Rajakovic is saying it was more for precautionary reasons. Again, we have about a month until the regular season. 3 weeks to be exact. And so we'll see how that transpires. We'll see how RJ reacts, all that type of stuff. Hope he's okay, first and foremost. Second, Grady Dick and Jamal Shead just were awesome. And maybe I should talk about RJ first. RJ was oozing with confidence in this game. It's been a thing with him over the last year. When he came to Toronto, it just felt like he fit in. He understood the assignment, for a lack of better words, and just looked more comfortable. Making the right decisions, barreling into traffic, finishing through traffic. I think he had a lot of great passes tonight too, which went underrated because obviously he only played 17 minutes and didn't necessarily convert on some of those passes. His teammates didn't convert on some of those passes that he made, but I think he made some good reads. And so if the Raptors can rely on him to be a tertiary or secondary playmaker, that's something that could be interesting. And it's something that we noticed last year with RJ too. I'm just intrigued about that. With Grady, it's the confidence. I know people in the comments are going to be like, hey man, he did everything but shoot. And it's valid. That's a valid thing to say. But ultimately, I'm confident in the shooting ability to eventually come. I don't think it should be an area of concern. And I like the fact that he's doing the other stuff offensively. Attacking off the dribble, making these mid-range shots, being able to put pressure and kind of get these paint touches as well to make plays for his teammates. All of that is really important to make him a more well-rounded offensive player. And I really like the activity defensively too. Looked like he was trying his ass off on that end. And speaking of trying his ass off on that end, it feels like Jamal Shead is just a ball of energy, a lightning bolt. And speaking, and kind of looking at things when I was in Montreal in training camp and seeing how everybody interacted with one another, it seems like Jamal Shead is a really big favorite on the team too. Guys are joking with him all the time. Guys are like making jokes. He's also a very vocal player. And so he's one of those guys that I think some of the players automatically gravitate towards. Yes, he's a 3-4 year guy in college. And so I think that's part of the reason. He's one of the older guys in a team full of rookies. And that changes the dynamic a little bit. But it was interesting to me because I asked Davion, I'm like, hey, like, obviously you're a guy who is incredible at the point of attack and defending. He's like, you know what, man? Like, we have a couple of guys here, including Jamal, who I'm learning a lot from. And it's weird because, like, their age difference isn't that much if you really think about it. Because Davion was saying, like, I've played a couple of years of college with Jamal Shead, against Jamal Shead. And so that made me realize, like, man, this is a very, very young team. And so the dynamics might be different than your typical young team where there are a couple of guys who are all around the same age range. Yes, that exists on this team, but it's also a different dynamic because there's a couple of multi-year players, multi-year college players that are also on the team, a little bit more of a veteran presence to them, as weird as that might sound. But Jamal clearly came in and punched in. I got some flack because today I was like, hey, man, like this guy's going to mess around and win G League MVP. I'm curious to see if he cracks the rotation, to be honest with you. I think it's wide open. Obviously, I think Davion, just from the experience factor and playing in the NBA, and obviously it's a contract year for Davion too, and the Raptors will have to make their decision on him. I think he will get the first opportunity to be that, so to speak, second backup point guard for the Raptors. Can Jamal eventually take over? I mean, I don't think it's impossible that happens. I think there's room for that to eventually happen. My main question is, like, how do the other guys fit in? Ochai Agbaji had an interesting moment or a couple of interesting possessions. I actually thought Jamias Ramsey was pretty good throughout the game. Ulrich Shamshi had a fun couple of minutes there at the end of the fourth quarter. And, like, there's tons of potential for him. He's likely going to spend a lot of time in the 905, probably for the first 2 seasons, just to be able to get used to the pace and kind of the formality, if you will, of the NBA and, like, the kind of structure of basketball in the NBA, which is wild to say, but ultimately that's something he has to get used to. I think there's just a lot of fun stuff to talk about. And that being said, I'm excited to talk about it with y'all. Like, I know that sometimes development and, like, rebuild can turn people off from watching a basketball team. True, valid, people want to watch good, winning basketball, and I can't wait until this Raptors team eventually gets to that point, but there is joy in the process, Just speaking on my own terms, like, I go back and watch videos that I made 5 years ago, and I'm like, man, that's rough, that yikes. And so I appreciate the process coming back and know, like, I got lights now. Wow, great. I got a great setup. I got a mic that I can work with. I know how to film. I think you take joy in that process more when you realize how far you've come with something. I think with these Raptors teams, you will enjoy the final product, the playoff team, the eventual championship team, more if you enjoy these moments too. And so maybe take that into consideration this season. If things start to get tough and if there's losing streaks and whatnot, just remember that the grind is part of it and you should try to enjoy it. Thank you very much, folks. Subscribe to Raptors Republic as you can, as you will. Like this video if you possibly can. Samson, myself, and a bunch of other great podcasters and creators on here will be doing a bunch of stuff all season, so tap into that, and we will see you guys later.